Hi everyone, welcome back to Asperger's from the Inside. You're here with Paul. I make weekly videos sharing the human side of autism, so make sure you hit subscribe to get the latest content. So have you ever been asked the question, what do you do? It's a really common starter question in terms of small talk. So in this video, I'm going to show you a way to turn that question to your advantage and transform what might end up being a long version of small talk to something actually interesting very quickly. So the great thing about this question, I know some people hate this question, what do you do? The great thing about this question from my perspective is it's really versatile and it's extremely expected. It's one of the most popular, common starting questions for a conversation. There's someone you'd like to talk to and you're not sure where to start. A lot of people will start with, so what do you do? Or even more helpfully, what do you do for work? Or something like that. So the great thing about that is that it is so universally accepted in our culture, at least at the moment, that you can use it in a very large number of situations and it can actually become your default. I know I want to talk to this person, but I'm not sure what to do. So how can I start this conversation? Just start there, even though it sounds cliche, it's actually a great place to start. So first off, we need to understand what the purpose of small talk is. And essentially, the purpose is to go from nothing to something. There's someone I would like to have a conversation with, I'd like to have some kind of interaction with, but we haven't acknowledged each other's presences yet. So I can start somewhere, but I don't know anything about them, so I don't know where to start. So this generic starting place, what do you do? It's extremely predictable. It's the kind of question that they've been asked 100 times before, 1,000 times before, potentially, which means it's an easy question to answer because of the repetition. I'm not asking you a really complex question that you need to really pay attention and focus to answer. It's a gentle question just to start the conversation somewhere. Now, the key is once it's started in this very predictable, boring, stereotypical, cliched way, I need to take that and transform it into something interesting fairly quickly before I lose interest and energy and I don't want to actually be part of the conversation anymore. So fortunately, what do you do, especially what do you do for work, can easily be transformed into a very slightly different form of the question, which is, what do you like doing? What are you passionate about? What interests you? So for a lot of people, there'll be a little bit of a nugget to be gained in the what do you do for work question. So if you're not sure, you can say, do you like your job? Is that fun? And then they'll probably share something about their job that they like. And then you're getting onto what do you like? What are you interested in? What do you find worth talking about that you're actually going to engage properly in a conversation around? Alternatively, if the answer is, I spoke to someone the other day, they said, oh, I'm a mortgage broker. And I said, oh yeah, that sounds fun. It's like, it's not fun. Like, okay, clearly I'm unlikely to get an interesting, positive conversation by talking about your work here. So I can very easily pivot and say, okay, well, you find your own work boring. So what do you do for fun then? I'll change the question from what do you do for work to what do you do for fun? And that's also a fairly easy question to go with. And the purpose of all of these tiny little changes is to try and tap into some kind of interesting energy that we both want to share. So if someone is asking me, what do I do for work? This is a great opportunity because it's the kind of question where I'll have a practiced answer to. I've been asked this question 1,000 times and I can have a think. If someone asks me this question, which is very likely, where would I like to take the conversation? What aspect of my work would I like to share? So if your work is boring, for example, you could say, I work as a whatever, but actually what I really like to do is something else. And then that way, you're actually leading the conversation into an area where you're going to find some kind of interest in the conversation itself. So in my case, I will start by saying I teach emotional intelligence online. Now, because that's a special interest of mine, if they happen to be interested in that and ask me more about it, then we'll actually get some energy going in the conversation because I love to talk about it. In fact, it can be a problem because I get so engrossed in talking about it that I have to say, I'm clearly very passionate about this. Let me know if I'm talking your ear off. Maybe we can change the subject if you would like to. And also, the more you've shared about something that you're interested in, the easier it is to then say, what about you? You don't need to think of a really complex question to ask. Simply, I've shared something. What about you? Leave it at that. Let them fill in the gap of what are you actually asking. If they've just asked you about work and you say, oh, okay, what about you? Or if you've just shared about a passion or what you do on the weekend or some hobby that you think is really fun to do, and you say, what about you? The other person can answer in whatever way they feel comfortable answering. But the purpose is that we're getting away from the stock standard script and we're getting into territory where we're actually engaging with each other as human beings rather than just, passing letters back and forth that we've done 100 times before. So I guess the moral of this story is that small talk is necessary to start a conversation with someone who you don't already have a relationship with. You don't know anything about this person. You're not really sure where to start, and you need to start somewhere. So if you're looking to have a more complex, interesting conversation later on, we have to start somewhere. And what do you do is actually a really good place to start, precisely because it is so cliched and it is so expected from a large amount of society. No one is going to say, oh, you boring idiot, you couldn't think of anything constructive or interesting to ask me, so you're just asking what do you do? Most of the population will think, oh, he's being friendly, he's just doing what every other social person would do in this situation, and I'm going to be polite and follow suit and interact with that. So once we've started some kind of interaction, then it's a matter of switching out of that into something that is more personal rather than that mechanical small talk. Anyway, I might leave it there, but that's just been a couple of strategies to instigate some interesting conversations with people. I hope you found that interesting, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.